We don't hire trash. Look at you. You are staining the carpet just by standing here. My cousin Tiffany screamed those words in the middle of the most expensive luxury boutique in the city. Her voice echoed off the marble floors and the crystal chandeliers. Customers in $3,000 suits stopped shopping to stare at me. I stood there, clutching my crumpled resume, my face burning with shame. I wasn't asking for a handout. I wasn't asking for a loan. I was begging for a job as a cleaner. I just wanted to scrub the toilet so I could buy medicine for my mother. "Please, Tiffany," I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. "I really need this. I work night shifts. Nobody has to see me. I just need a paycheck." Tiffany laughed. It was a cruel, high-pitched sound that I had heard my entire life. She looked at her sister, Brittany, who was standing next to her behind the register, examining her nails. "Brittany, can you believe this?" Tiffany sneered. "Our little bastard cousin thinks she's good enough to work at Lumiere. Sweetie, this is a high-end establishment. We sell dreams here. You look like a nightmare." Brittany didn't even look up. "Call security, Tiff. She smells like public transportation." I felt the tears hot in my eyes. I turned to leave, humiliated, defeated, wishing the floor would just open up and swallow me whole. I was halfway to the glass doors when a deep, booming voice stopped everything. What is going on here? I froze. A man in an impeccable grey suit was walking toward us. He had an aura of authority that made the air in the room feel heavier. It was Mr. Sterling, the owner of the entire brand. A billionaire. A legend. Tiffany's face instantly changed from a snarl to a bright, fake smile. She fixed her hair and stepped forward. "Oh, Mr. Sterling. So sorry for the disturbance. We were just escorting a beggar out of the store." She was bothering the clientele. Mr. Sterling didn't look at Tiffany. He looked at me. He looked at my worn-out shoes, my cheap jacket, and my tear-stained face. Then his eyes dropped to my neck. He stopped breathing. His face went pale, as if he had seen a ghost. I didn't know it then, but the cheap-looking silver pendant hanging around my neck was about to destroy Tiffany's life and hand me the keys to her kingdom. But before I tell you how I fired my own cousins, you need to understand why they hated me so much. My name is Chloe, and for 20 years, I was the family's punching bag. My crime? Being born. My mother was the black sheep of the family. While her sisters married rich lawyers and bankers, my mum fell in love with a mysterious young man she met one summer. They had a whirlwind romance, a summer of intense passion, but he had to move away for work. He promised to write, but he never did. My mum found out she was pregnant a month later. She raised me alone, working double shifts as a waitress. We lived in a tiny apartment where the heating broke every winter. Meanwhile, my Aunt Tiffany and Brittany's mother lived in a mansion on the hill. We were never invited to the gala dinners. We were only invited to help clean up after them. I grew up watching my cousins get everything. Cars at 16, designer bags for graduation, vacations in the Maldives. They made sure I knew my place. At family gatherings, they would make me sit at the kids' table even when I was 18. They called me the bastard when the adults weren't listening. "Your dad didn't want you," Tiffany used to whisper to me during Thanksgiving. "He probably took one look at you and ran." I believed them. I hated myself for it. The only thing I had from my father was the necklace. My mum gave it to me on my 18th birthday. "He gave this to me on our last night together," Mum told me, fastening the silver chain around my neck. It was a strange design, a small, intricate crest of a lion holding a star. He said it was a family heirloom. I know he didn't stay, Chloe, but he loved me. I feel it. I wore that necklace every single day. It was my armor. It was the only proof that I came from something real, even if my father was a ghost. But life has a funny way of turning ghosts into reality. Last month, my mum got sick. Really sick. The medical bills piled up faster than I could pay them. I was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough. We were weeks away from eviction. I was desperate. That's why I swallowed my pride and walked into Lumiere that day. I knew my cousins worked there as managers' jobs they got, only because their dad played golf with the investors. I thought maybe, just maybe, blood was thicker than water. I was wrong. Blood doesn't mean anything to parasites. Back in the store, the silence was deafening. Mr. Sterling took a step closer to me, ignoring Tiffany completely. His hands were trembling as he reached out toward me. "Where ... double quotes," his voice cracked. "Where did you get that necklace, young lady?" Tiffany stepped in between us, sensing she was losing control of the situation. Sir, she probably stole it. She's a thief. I can call the police right now. Silence, Mr. Sterling roared. The sound was so loud that Brittany dropped her phone behind the counter. He looked back at me, his eyes full of tears. Please, tell me, who gave you that necklace? Mother, I stammered, holding the pendant tight. It belonged to my father. He gave it to her 20 years ago before he left. Mr. Sterling closed his eyes, and a single tear rolled down his cheek. He whispered a name. Is your mother's name Elena? My heart stopped. Yes, I whispered. How do you know that? He opened his eyes, and the look he gave me was full of a love I had never seen before. Because, he said, his voice breaking, I am the one who gave her that necklace. I am your father. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I looked at the man standing in front of me, one of the richest men in the country, and then I looked at the necklace, the lion and the star. It was the same crest embroidered on his suit jacket pocket. I hadn't noticed it before because I was too busy looking at the floor in shame. Tiffany broke the silence with a shrill, nervous laugh. Okay, this is a joke, right? Someone is filming this? Mr. Sterling, you can't possibly believe this. This trash. She probably bought that necklace at a pawn shop. She's a scammer. I told you, she's desperate for money. Mr. Sterling turned slowly to face Tiffany. His eyes, which had been full of tears a moment ago, were now cold as ice. I designed that necklace myself, he said, his voice dangerously low. There is only one in existence. I made it by hand in my grandfather's workshop when I was 22. I put it around Elena's neck the night I left for Europe. Tell me, miss. He looked at her namatag with disgust. Miss Tiffany, do you often accuse your boss of being a liar? Tiffany turned pale. She stammered, trying to find words, but nothing came out. Get back to work, he barked. And do not speak to this young lady again until I say so. He turned back to me, his demeanor softening instantly. Chloe ... Is Elena? Is your mother still here? Can I see her? She's in the hospital, I said, my voice trembling. She's very sick. We can't afford the treatment. Mr. Sterling grabbed his phone and dialed a number immediately. Prepare the car, and call Dr. Errington at City General. I want the best suite prepared immediately. We are moving a patient. He looked at me. She's not going to suffer anymore, Chloe. I promise you. He ushered me out of the store, his hand gently on my shoulder. As we walked past the counter, I saw Brittany's jaw practically hitting the floor. Tiffany looked like she was about to vomit. For the first time in my life, I didn't lower my head. I walked out of there, protected by the most powerful man in the city. The ride to the hospital was a blur of luxury leather seats and silent tears. Mr. Sterling, my father, told me everything. He hadn't just left. His letters were intercepted by his own controlling parents who wanted him to marry into wealth. They had told him my mother had moved on and married someone else. They told my mother he had died in an accident. It was a web of lies constructed to keep them apart. He never knew she was pregnant. He never knew I existed. When we walked into my mother's cramped, shared hospital room, she was sleeping. She looked so frail. Mr. Sterling stood by the door, afraid to enter. Then Mum opened her eyes. She saw him. I will never forget the sound she made. It wasn't a scream. It was a gasp of pure disbelief and love. Arthur, she whispered. He rushed to her side and fell to his knees. The billionaire, the tycoon, was crying like a baby holding my mother's hand. I'm here, Elena. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Within 2 hours, everything changed. My mother was transferred to a private VIP suite that looked more like a 5-star hotel than a hospital. A team of specialists was assigned to her case. For the first time in months, the color started to return to her cheeks. Mr. Sterling Dad didn't leave our side. He ordered a DNA test just to make it official for the lawyers, but he said he didn't need it. He said he saw his own mother in my eyes. When the results came back the next morning, it was a 99.9% match. I sat in the hospital room looking at the piece of paper that redefined my entire existence. I wasn't just Chloe the cleaner anymore. I was Chloe Sterling, heiress to the Sterling Luxury Group. Dad sat down next to me. Chloe, I have missed 20 years of your life. I can't get that time back, but I can make sure the rest of your life is perfect. I want you to move into the estate with me. I want you to learn the business. I want to give you everything you were denied. Everything, I asked, a thought forming in the back of my mind. Anything, he said. Even the store? I asked. The one where Tiffany and Brittany work. Dad's expression hardened. He knew. I hadn't told him the details yet, but he was a smart man. He had seen how they treated me. He had heard the insults, especially the store. He said, "It's yours. Do whatever you see fit. If you think those entitled cousins deserve what's coming to them, hit the like button right now. Let's show them that kindness always wins in the end." The next few days were a whirlwind. I went from worrying about bus fare to being driven around in a Rolls-Royce. Dad hired a stylist to update my wardrobe. I traded my worn-out sneakers for Italian leather heels. I traded my oversized hoodie for a tailored blazer. But I didn't tell anyone else yet. The news hadn't leaked to the press. As far as Tiffany and Brittany knew, I had just left with the crazy old man and probably gotten paid off to go away. I checked my phone. I had 12 missed calls from my Aunt Tiffany's mum. She had probably heard about the scene at the store and wanted to yell at me for embarrassing the family. I didn't answer. I just watched the phone ring and smiled. On Monday morning, I woke up early. I put on my new power suit, a sharp navy blue ensemble that cost more than my cousins made in a month. I put on the lion crest necklace. "Are you ready?" Dad asked me at breakfast. "I'm ready," I said. We drove to the flagship store, the same store where, just 3 days ago, I was begging to scrub toilets. As we walked toward the entrance, the security guards, the same ones who were ready to throw me out, rushed to open the doors. They bowed their heads. "Good morning, Mr. Sterling." "Good morning, Miss Sterling." We walked in. The store was busy. Tiffany and Brittany were standing by the main display, gossiping and drinking lattes. They looked up and saw Mr. Sterling. They put on their fake customer service smiles immediately. And then they saw me. Tiffany dropped her latte. It splashed all over her designer shoes. I didn't stop walking until I was standing right in front of them. The silence in the store was heavy. "Good morning, ladies," I said. My voice didn't shake this time. It was strong. "Chloe?" Tiffany whispered, looking me up and down, trying to process the expensive clothes, the hair, the confidence. "What? What are you doing here? Did you steal those clothes?" I laughed. It felt good to laugh. "Actually," I said, looking around the store, running my hand over a silk scarf on the display table, "I'm here to do a performance review." "A what?" Brittany asked, confused. "You don't work here. You're a nobody." Mr. Sterling stepped forward from behind me. He placed a hand on my shoulder. "Actually," he announced, his voice booming through the store, "she is the new owner. I signed the deed over this morning. Meet my daughter, Chloe Sterling." The look on their faces was worth every single tear I had ever cried. They looked like they had been slapped. Their mouths hung open. Their eyes darted from me to Dad, desperate for it to be a lie. "Daughter!" Tiffany squeaked. But she's the maid's daughter. She is my daughter," Dad said coldly. "And she is now your boss." I took a step closer to Tiffany. I could smell her fear. "So," I said, smiling sweetly, "about that cleaning job I asked for." Tiffany looked like she was having a stroke. She started stammering, her face turning a blotchy red. "Chloe... Cousin. We didn't know. It was just a misunderstanding. You know how we joke, right? We're family. We love you." "Yeah," Brittany chimed in, suddenly finding her voice. She tried to reach out and touch my arm, but I stepped back. We were just teasing. Tough love, you know? To motivate you. To motivate me? I repeated, my voice calm but sharp as a knife. Calling me trash was motivation. Telling security I smelled like public transportation was love? I looked around the store. The other employees were watching. Some of them were hiding smiles. They hated Tiffany and Brittany too. Everyone did. They were tyrants who stole commissions and bullied the staff. "Mr. Sterling," Tiffany said, turning to my father, desperate. "Sir, please. We've been loyal managers for 3 years. You can't let her do this. She doesn't know business. She's emotional." Dad crossed his arms. "I trust her judgment completely. This is her store. Her rules." I walked over to the counter and picked up the employment roster. I pretended to study it for a moment. "You're right, Tiffany," I said. "I don't know much about business yet, but I do know about hygiene. You said something the other day. What was it? Oh yes. That I was staining the carpet just by standing here." I looked down at the puddle of spilled latte on the floor where Tiffany had dropped her cup. "It seems you're the one making a mess," I said. And since you care so much about the cleanliness of this store, I have a proposal. Tiffany looked hopeful. Anything. I'll clean it up right now. Great, I said. Here is the deal. I won't fire you right now, but the position of manager is no longer available to you. However, the position I applied for last week is still open. I pointed to the janitor's closet in the back. The toilets haven't been scrubbed today, I said. If you want to stay in the Sterling family business, you can start there. Both of you. The silence stretched out. Brittany looked at her hands. Tiffany looked furious. You're joking, Tiffany hissed. I am not scrubbing a toilet. I have a degree, and I have the deed to the building, I replied. So you have two choices. You can pick up a mop and start from the bottom, like I did my whole life. Or you can leave right now and never set foot in any Sterling property again. Tiffany looked at the customers watching her. Her pride was too big. She couldn't handle the humiliation. You are a witch, she screamed. I quit. You hear me? I quit. And wait until my mother hears about this. She will sue you for every penny. Let her try, Dad interjected calmly. My lawyers are bored. Tiffany grabbed her purse and stormed out, shoving a customer out of her way. Brittany hesitated. She looked at the door, then at the mop bucket, then at me. I have student loans, Brittany whispered. She looked defeated. Then I suggest you get started, I said. The men's room is particularly bad on Mondays. Brittany hung her head and walked toward the closet. The entire staff erupted into applause. It wasn't just my victory. It was a victory for everyone who had ever been mistreated by them. I turned to my dad. He was beaming with pride. That was ... elegant, he said. We left the store and went to lunch, but the day wasn't over. My Aunt Tiffany's mum was blowing up my phone. She left voicemails screaming about how I had brainwashed the billionaire and stolen her daughter's birthright. She didn't know that the storm was just beginning, because when you poke a lion, you get the claws. And Dad wasn't done protecting his cub. Later that afternoon, we went back to the hospital to see Mum. She was sitting up, watching TV. She looked happier than I had seen her in decades. When we walked in, she pointed at the screen. Look, she said. It was the local news. The headline read, Sterling Group announces new heiress, long-lost daughter found. But underneath that, there was another story breaking. Local socialite under investigation for fraud. It was a picture of my aunt. Dad sat down on the edge of the bed. I made a few calls, he said casually. It turns out your aunt has been using the family name to secure loans she can't pay back. And she's been claiming to be a silent partner in my company to get investors. That is highly illegal. I looked at him, shocked. What does that mean? It means the bank is seizing her mansion on the hill tomorrow, he said. And since Tiffany and Brittany live there, well, I hope they have friends with comfortable couches. The irony was perfect. They had looked down on our tiny apartment for years. Now, they were about to be homeless. What would you do if you had that kind of power? Would you have let them keep their house, or did they deserve to lose it all? Tell me in the comments. The next morning, I asked Dad to drive me to the hill. I wanted to see it. Call me petty, but I needed closure. When we arrived, the moving trucks were already there. My aunt was on the lawn screaming at the police officers. Tiffany was sitting on a Louis Vuitton suitcase crying into her phone. We pulled up in the Rolls-Royce. I rolled down the window. Tiffany looked up. Her eyes were red and puffy. She saw me. She saw the dad she wished she had. She saw the life she thought she deserved. She walked over to the car. I thought she was going to scream, but she looked broken. Chloe, she whimpered. Please, we have nowhere to go. Mum's accounts are frozen. We can't even get a hotel. Can we? Can we stay with you? Just for a few days? We're family. I looked at her. I remembered the Christmas dinners at the kids' table. I remembered the resume she threw in the trash. I remembered her laughing when I said my mum was sick. I'm sorry, Tiffany, I said, but we have a strict policy about guests. What policy? She asked, desperate. We don't allow trash in the house, I said. It stains the carpet. I rolled up the window. Drive, please, I told the chauffeur. As we drove away, leaving them on the curb of the mansion they no longer owned, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. My mum recovered fully. Dad and she got married a year later in a small private ceremony. I was the maid of honor. I run the charity division of the Sterling Group now, helping single mothers get back on their feet. I never heard from Tiffany or Brittany again. But sometimes when I visit the store, I check the bathrooms. They are always spotless. I guess they finally learned the value of hard work. If you enjoyed seeing these bullies get what they deserved, please subscribe to the channel. We have new stories every week. And speaking of family secrets, you won't believe the story on your screen right now. It's about a bride who found out her mother-in-law wore a white dress to the wedding, and then spilled red wine on it accidentally. Click now to see the drama unfold.